Genocide here with my new series called The Devil is in the Details. In this series we're going to break down various black metal techniques on the guitar. Thanks for your patience with the first few I came out with. I know they were pretty shoddy in terms of the lighting, and because of a request of one of our watchers, I've put light very close to the guitar so you can see what I'm doing. So let's just jump in there. The first topic we're going to be dealing with over the next few videos is speed picking. Now, those intro articles covered practicing basic chromatics with a metronome to syncopate your picking hand and your left fretting hand. Those were just very basic, but I would like to even take a step farther back in choosing your plectrum. Now, really, there's always a proper tool for any particular job. So in choosing what tool is best for us, we have to understand what the job is we're doing. Well, what the job we're doing here is playing black metal. So we want to choose a plectrum or pick that will facilitate us speed picking. Now, here is a standard plectrum. This is a very heavy gauge, very inflexible, and here is its diametrically opposed opposite, a nylon pick that's almost like paper. Both of them are standard size. Now, truth be known, when we're picking, we will be picking on this space right here on the side of the tip. Okay, well, I found using picks of this size, there is more what's called resistance. There's more material that rubs on the guitar and it slows down your picking. So what I decided to do was look for a smaller pick. That's when I discovered the little teardrop. But the teardrops didn't have the proper angles along the actual pick edge. And then I discovered the Dunlop Jazz. These are the perfect pick, the Jim Dunlop USA Jazz 2s or 3s. Problem was is when you would sweat picking very quickly, you would drop the pick. So what I did is I would take a knife and I would gouge into the plastic and create a little gripper. Well, they borrowed my idea and have a pre-gripped pick. But as you can see, the size is substantially different. And again, we're going to be picking with the side angle of the plectrum. So I choose a small pick. Now, you have to choose what's best for you in your own comfort, what's working the smoothest with your mechanics. But I would suggest, if you can deal with a small pick, I would attempt to practice with it because it makes a huge difference. In terms of gripping wise, I see a lot of people splay their hands like this when they're picking. Personally, I don't think that's a mechanically sound idea. What you want to do is you want to pack your fingers together, okay? And what you want to do is you want to activate the tendons in your forearm by slightly curling your fingers forward. Basically, what you form is what is called the empty fist in Southern Chinese Kung Fu. As you can see, my hand is not clenched like this. I am simply packed my fingers together and I put my thumb right there. This way, the structure you have to pick with is a lot stronger than simply an index and your thumb. You have a complete structure. Now, you'll notice Marty Friedman picks with a very odd shape But he really has perfected this grip. And what it does is, by using the tendons in the hand, you're not contracting the muscles as tensely, and so you're not tensing up your entire forearm and shoulder. So you're not putting a brake on as you're trying to drive. Now, once they're packed together, you then can bring your thumb forward or withdraw, and you will see how it affects the angle of the pick. Now, I can't tell you what's best for you. You just have to play with pulling your thumb in and out until you find what's best for you. But you have to consider how you rest your hand over the tremolo. You know, directly where the strings come out of the saddle is where you want to place this fatty part of your hand, because you always want to keep a slight palm mute to keep your sound clean. You know, you don't want things ringing out so you sound sloppy. So once you have your palm positioned properly, you then play. See, watch my thumb. You play with the position of your thumb and index finger, because it alters the angle the pick will give you. Okay, now again, once more, remember, we are picking with the edge, not the tip. Okay, this gives you more of a shield type defensive surface. All right. Now, there are several different picking techniques which have really been confused and jarbled up together. I'd like to add a little clarity to that today. There is something called alternate picking. Alternate picking, very common sense wise, is named so because you alternate picking down, up, down, up, down, up, or up, down, up, down, up, down. So with the chromatics I showed in the original exercise, that would be down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So it's just alternating strokes of down, up, or up, down, up, down. Okay, then we have something called economy picking. Now, economy picking uses alternate picking to a point, but then it actually uses a concept from sweep picking. And what that concept is this, is if you're picking, let's say you're on the 9th fret A string, and the next string you're going to move down to is the D string, 7th fret, you can hit those two notes with one sweeping motion down. So if you were doing an alternate picking, that last note was not alternate picked because you didn't keep consistent with up, down, up, down. What that is economy picking. So down, up, down, up. Now, to keep with alternate picking, since your last pick was up, you'd have to go down using straight alternate picking. But with the economy picking, okay, now we have alternate picking and economy picking. Well, next we have tremolo picking. Now, tremolo picking is when you alternate pick on one string and one note. For example, on the 5th fret A string, now that can also be called mandolin picking. It tends to be the rockabilly term for it because that is the picking technique on a mandolin. I've also heard it called surf picking because it shows up in surf guitar. Now, when you take tremolo picking and you play it on more than one string, or one note rather, more than one note, you have what's called speed picking. Now, an example with a lead melodic line played with speed picking would be like Gorgoroth Building a Man off the last album. So that's a basic example. Now in the next video we'll continue with breaking down the speed picking, and we'll focus a lot more on the minute mechanics.